All right, Aries, here we go. Here's your overall for the week. Woo! Wow. The world, very nice. Some of you getting closure on something. Others of you are finishing out a major life cycle right now. Some of you feel successful and accomplished, and you're ready for the next adventure, which is perfect. It's perfect. But again, with it being the overall, this could be suggesting that you're either getting there or we need to take the next steps to get to that major completion, right? But I like this one better than the other 10s or like the wheel, because it leaves the door open for, really good things to happen. I mean, all endings will. But when you go into a new beginning feeling like you're successful right off the bat, it's a beautiful feeling. But like I said, you may be looking to get, closure on something or needing to have something complete. Oh boy. In the past, and hopefully that stays in the past, the Four of Cups. Ugh. That's never a good thing for Aries when you see the Four of Cups. So boredom, dissatisfaction in the past, possibly not seeing the offer that you want to see. This is one of those ones where I see that Ace of Cups being handed to somebody and they're looking at it like, what makes that any different than what I already have? Why should I take it? And then on the other hand, some of you may not be seeing it because you're too absorbed in what you have in front of you right now. I don't know. I don't like it because of the emotional blah. Like, ugh. Oh, shit. In the present, justice. Damn. So, with justice in the present, if you feel like you were handed something that wasn't good enough, it looks like right now you're either correcting it or somebody else is trying to correct it. With justice, you're talking about the fair and balanced choices, right? Weighing your options, though, too, making the decision that's going to be right for you. But then this is also, for me, like accountability. When we're talking about people needing to make something right, and balance out the situation here. And I'm waiting to see. I'm always waiting to see what's happening in the environment. Oh, shit. Future conditions. Why? That's not good. I wonder if some of you passed up an offer and now you're looking back at it in future conditions here, and it's no wonder why the world is sitting there, because basically if you're looking at the Seven of Cups and you're looking at all the different things that could have been, it's time to finish that out now and move on. But that one, yeah. I'm looking at justice, and I get the feeling that for some of you, something didn't come through the way that you wanted it to, whatever that is, whether we're talking about a job offer, a connection in a relationship, being that it's the Ace of Cups being offered there. It didn't come through the right way, because with justice being there and in between those, emotionally, you're just like, and I hate to say this, it's like you're not in reality right now, but it may be because, this just didn't come out right. There's a reason why you didn't see it, or you may have rejected it, right? In looking at the Seven of Cups, though, in future conditions, it's almost like looking back at it and thinking about how it could have been. Like maybe I should have took that, but feeling like it's not available to you anymore is what I feel like looking at that. But we'll see here. Oh boy. What? Aries? The moon is your best path to follow. Shit. Now, if we're talking about, you needing to get to a place here where you feel more accomplished, more successful, despite the fact that you may have turned down offers before, with the moon being your best path to follow, man, this reminds me of needing to let all of the shit from your subconscious come to the surface, because for me, when I look at the moon, man, there's so many different things going on with this one, right? And like I've always said, the moon does not fully illuminate your path. It's all about paying attention to your instincts. That's why it's associated to confusion and illusions and fear and anxiety and projecting that out onto things. But I don't know. I feel more so it's about, your own deep-seated things going on that need to come to the surface for you to deal with. And then the other thing, though, too, is you need to get illumination on what the hell's going on here. I still feel like looking at this, for some of you, it's like you just need to let it go. It's over. It is what it is. It's almost like a judgment type feeling, And I worry that you may be looking for that fairness, but then not actually getting it, though, But still here, like, things need to be cleared up for you. You need to get out of, the illusion and see it for what it is. But I feel like you missed it. Like in the past, you missed it. In your environment, the King of Wands. Okay, so now in terms of you, and again, the reason why I say this when it comes to dealing with kings, especially with Aries is a masculine sign, so whether you're male or female, right? This could be the energy surrounding you right now in connection to justice. When you're looking at the King of Wands, first of all, you're talking about wisdom, hopefully here. Somebody who's being smart about where their passions are leading them. We're not talking about the Page or the Knight here. And it could be that you just need to go your own way now instead of constantly looking back at offers from the past that you may have turned down. What is fair and balanced for you? Now, on the other hand, some of you may be dealing with another fire sign here. And like I've always said, when the King of Wands shows up, he to me is signaling that there may be an attraction to somebody. There may be a person in your space that may be making you feel this way, though, too. Full of passion, ready for a new adventure, wanting to go after something, right? But again, being smart about where your passions are leading you, But I'm looking at it coming down, and I think that you're okay. I think it is what it is. But I still see you, though, in future conditions, looking back at it like what it could have been. That, or you're not seeing it because you're too interested in getting a fair and balanced, relationship possibly with somebody, and it's just not happening, and you're left, wishing and hoping for something to change. Because I go back to the moon and think that there's not a whole lot of clarity. It's like you may be hoping that somebody's going to come through. And it's funny because we're not talking about hopes and fears, but you're in your emotions and in your head with these two. But, with the King of Wands being there, right, it looks like you move into a place where you're like, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go and seek something else out. I've learned from the situation. Now it's time to move on. But have you, though? Have you? Why are you reflecting back on that? Because it's in here somewhere, I'm telling you, among everything else that you may be looking at. Oh, boy. Your hopes and your fears, the Page of Cups. What's with the emotions, Aries? Seriously, and you got Pisces going on here besides Libra and a fire sign. Good Christ. The Page of Cups is hopes and fears. They're talking about the communication of emotions, a new emotional experience. And like I've said before, this one to me has the feeling of I've never felt this way before. But pages, they're messengers. So for me, it's suggesting that if somebody is needing to communicate something, you may be hoping that somebody's going to finally turn around and express the way that they feel in a new way. Not say the same shit that they've said to you before, but in a new, fresh way where there's a better understanding and there's not a whole lot of confusion going on. I do think that some of you may be being thrown off by a person. I don't think that the connection was that great in the past, if we're talking about that. Now, in terms of work, it's just you pass something up. And that's okay. That cycle's going to come to an end for sure. And you're getting ready to move on big time here between these two. But why, though? I'm still right here. Because this, with justice being above it, that should have been something totally different. So to me, it's like you're going back. And again, hoping for that communication, right? Or needing to say something. Or needing to just have a new emotional experience altogether, which absolutely, with that shit going on in the moon, yeah. Oh My God, are you fucking kidding me? Why? The devil? No. Now, like I said, with the world being the overall here, there is a way to get this cycle completed out. But you got to get out of your head. You got to get out of those weird emotions. Stop fantasizing about things. Look at what has control over you and get it out. Like, get it away. Yeah, you're getting hit with some hard stuff. But that's, like I said, right? Like, when it comes to this, you just take it with a grain of salt. This is either your situation or it's not, right? But God damn it. What the hell? So now the devil. First of all, no good. And then you have the Page of Wands. What I worry about here is, especially with the fact that you're hoping for communication, that you may be hearing what you want to hear, possibly from a person, but with the devil being there, no. It's not what it is. And then you have the moon. Come on. Now, with the Three of Pentacles, we could definitely be talking about a work situation. Maybe it's not going right. Or again, you miss out on another offer here because of the Tower. And that's, what I'm looking at. Now, on the other hand, it could be that you need to start putting your focus and attention somewhere else here and drastically change what is going on with you emotionally and start creating your own offers instead of waiting for it to come through from somebody else, right? With the Three of Pentacles, when I look at this one, it's not just talking about working with other people or needing to put forth the effort with another person to work towards something. It is starting something new here, but showing off what you're able to do. But with the devil being there, it's like you're being blocked from that. And the Tower with the devil being there, to me, it's kind of hopeful. But I feel like the reason why it's leading here is because, like I said, this combo is not good. If we're talking about you, we're talking about you going full force into something here and not really knowing, because again, the Pages, it's naive energy. The Page of Wands is like the Fool, except there's a lot of enthusiasm and excitement to take this path. It's not about faith. It's about learning on the way, and again, you have knowledge, right? Now, again, for me, it's like looking at this and hearing something you want to hear. The devil whispering in your ear, you start putting forth effort and everything just comes crashing down. That, or you realize what it is and you stop listening here and change everything and just like wipe it clean, right? But I think that, especially for those of you who are dealing with a person right now that may not be, telling you what you're really wanting to hear or what you're really hoping to hear. I think that, there may be a time where you're still like going forward on it, but then realizing that it's just not there. I see you still trying to put forth the effort, but then eventually getting to a place where like the fantasy just comes crashing down when it comes to a person, possibly. Whew. I don't know, but that devil bothers me. Especially if we're talking about somebody communicating something to you. But again, we're looking at the world as the overall here. There is an opportunity to clear all this shit out and have it done for once and for all. Done. In a way where you feel good, like you have accomplished something, you have gotten over, the demons, they're done now, right? The slate is clean here with the Tower. And then hopefully you'll move that Three of Pentacles after that and start putting your time and effort into something or someone else. All right. Now, for those of you who are single, finances and career. So looking at that with the Hermit, instead of focusing so much on that, I feel like I want to tell you that you need to focus on, getting that flame started, right? Instead of like looking at other relationships and thinking, this is what I want. Why can't I make this happen? Well, it may be because some of you are too focused on what's going on here. And that's not a bad thing. Obviously, right? We have to adult. But when we're talking about a relationship, it could be that, you need to just put a little bit more focus in on what you're actually wanting. But I don't really see it as a bad thing. I just see that, if for some of you, you've been single for quite some time. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, past life relationship, but then you're looking at the Fool. And one of the things that we always point out is the snake, right? And the Fool walking away from past relationships, walking away from bullshit, taking a new path, and I feel like because of this reading, that may be the case for some of you. It's time to stop that cycle. You may have been in a relationship in a past life, but now this is asking you to go a new way, needing to take a new path in your relationships or in your love life. Now, for some of you, it could be that you are leaving a relationship and walking into a situation where you've had a relationship with this person before. Oh boy, Aries. But I do think, like I said, with the Devil and the Tower being there, I don't think that you're looking at like some massive shock here. I don't think that that's it. I think that what the situation is, but the devil whispering in your ear, that's what I keep hearing on this, like it telling you what you want to hear, but then not giving you what you need. All right, Aries. So, again, going back to these two, like I do think that some of you are being asked to learn something new here, but be careful about being too hard on yourself and be careful about how you deal with like know-it-alls. Now, as far as the reading goes, I do love the fact that we're looking at the world, even though the Devil came out on this, because to me it's saying that it's there. It's there. This cycle is going to complete itself out big time. And it may be that I think that for some of you, I feel like the emotional heaviness around, not getting what you wanted possibly from a person, or a person who may have been like offering you a job, which is possible here if we're talking about work. But for those of you who are dealing with a person in your environment right now, I don't think that you're going to get the fairness and balance that you're looking for, because I would have expected to see something other than this. I mean, really needing to get out of the illusion here that it's even a possibility anymore. Now for some of you, it could just be that you're looking back and looking at something that you may have turned down, but you may be thinking that it's still there, or doing the I shoulda, woulda, coulda. Now, as far as the King of Wands in your environment attached to Justice, with the World being there, to me, it looks like you just saying, it is what it is, right? And thinking about what is going to be fair and balanced for you. And then, of course, with the King of Wands, that's perfect energy for you, right? Especially if you're a male. Now, whether you're male or female, when you're looking at the King of Wands, it's being passionate, being driven, but being smart about where you're going. But you're not showing that coming out. Now, I do think that some of you are hoping to hear something. And with the Page of Cups, we could be talking about, things on the creative end or emotions, right? Like for me, this usually stays true to what it is when it shows up. The communication of emotions, whether it's you needing to say something or hoping that somebody else is going to communicate it. The problem is, like I said, when you're looking at the Devil and the Page of Wands, it's like the Devil whispering in your ear, telling you what you want to hear, but it's not good. Now, for some of you, it may be that you're still like thinking that this is a possibility, because I look at the Page of Wands, and especially with the Devil being there, it's like you're still moving forward on it. But, again, there's not a whole lot of clarity on anything. And again, like really needing to get all that shit just uprooted, let it surface and then get rid of it, again, with the World being there. Now, looking at the Three of Pentacles in the Tower, for some of you, it may be that you take an offer that may not turn out so well. Again, because of the Tower being there. But now, on the other hand, it may be you wiping the slate clean here and start putting your time and effort into something else. Maybe focusing your efforts into something that you actually want to learn how to do and going back to knowledge, right? But if we're talking about a person here that you're dealing with the Three of Pentacles being there, I don't think that they're willing to, because we're still looking at justice connected to this, but with the World, it's like, no, it's going to finally complete itself out when you realize that this person is not willing to put in the same amount of effort. It's not like a Six of Pentacles type thing, because I think that you're still willing to continue to put in the effort toward this, even though it's not It's not good for you. Now, with the Tower, like I said, I mean, wiping it clean, like big time here. And moving on to a new beginning, and going back to the Fool, right? Which is better for your energy anyway. I don't know, this one bothers me. But again, looking at the world, it's going to complete itself out, which is the good news on this. It's just you needing to take the steps to get there and get out of the illusion that may be being cast on you, though. Now, like I said, though, for some of you, you may be looking back at something that you should have took advantage of and didn't. Now, as far as relationships go, finances and career in the Hermit. It's very simply, it could be that you're too focused on your career right now, or, needing to get your financial situation under control, which is fine because, like I said, we all have to adult, right? But with the Hermit, I feel like some of you have been single for a long time, and instead of hoping for that candle to light up, you're going to have to do something here. But then, I also think, looking at the Hermit, that some of you need to get a little bit more clear on what you're really wanting in terms of a relationship before you actually start doing that. And maybe the focus on your finances and career is better than you going into something and not really being clear on what you're wanting. Now, for those of you who are in a relationship, I have to be honest with you, the feeling that I get around this is that either some of you are walking away from a relationship and walking into one that you have had in a past life, or you're getting out of the past life cycle, and again, with the World being there, it makes sense. So past life and the Fool, and walking away from that snake, walking away from bullshit relationships from the past, and past life relationship. It all depends on how you feel about that and where your belief lies. Now, you could be in a situation with a person where you just continuously, life after life, keep going through a relationship, but it just doesn't go the way you want it to. And again, I'm saying that because of the reading. But whatever it is that you're dealing with, like I said, with the World, it's coming to a full-on completion, and in a good way for you. It's just you needing to take the next steps to get there. But like I said, for some of you, you may be walking away and walking right into another past life situation. And one of the things that I've seen pointed out with this card before, I can't remember who it was, Delphi. She used to use these cards all the time, and one of the things that she talked about was the dress and that color, healing a past life relationship. But I still see you with the Fool there moving on, moving away now. Whether it's moving into a past life relationship or moving away from it.